gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business, I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar
Why? You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No.
Let's go to the last part.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man
is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Welcome back. HR, training, coaching, and leadership are often treated as separated areas, but they're all connected by one thing: people. Today, joining us is Georgia Donaldson, founder of Corporate Solutions, who's going to help us look at how effective leadership, workplace culture, and people development come together, and what it is really like to take on create a meaningful change within an organization. Good morning, Ms. Donaldson.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Takia. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So we're starting right away. HR, training and coaching, and then leadership. That one can throw you for a loop. So what was the moment you realized leadership and HR needed to be talked about together and not as separated disciplines?
Takia, that's a good one to start. You know, when I think about policies in particular, that's what's important. Policies, usually people feel that's HR.
Yeah.
And leaders don't think that they also have to know the policies, live the policies, and be willing to enforce the policies. So that's one of the areas where HR and leadership has to come together.
Yeah.
Because leaders not only enforce it, they need to model it.
Yeah, absolutely right. And
yeah.
What's a belief about leadership you held early on that you've completely reversed now?
Listen, in my early days, I thought leaders needed to have all the answers. It's not about the answers, because we're all human. We don't know everything. What I have found now is that leaders need to know when to ask the questions and need to know what are the right questions to ask. Mm-hmm. So let's us as leaders stop thinking that we have to know all the answers. It's more about the questions that we ask.
Yeah. And you've You've described yourself as being part of the journey with clients. So what does that actually look like day to day versus a more transactional consulting relationship?
Okay. It's so important that the customer or the client feels that there's someone in their corner, someone who is thinking about, their own growth and development. So that's part of what I do with leadership, the leadership coaching. But also as a consultant, when you have someone who is in the trenches with you. So for example, if you're doing some focus group sessions and you as the consultant, you're there helping to unpack what are some of the things coming out of the focus group sessions. If you're doing a restructuring, you as a consultant is there as well, helping them through all of those knotty things that have to happen as a part of that restructuring. So not just being aloof and being at the side, but being there sometimes with them to help them work through.
Yeah. And what would you say is one of the biggest disconnects you see between how executives think culture works and how it actually works on the ground?
That's a really unique one, Takia, because sometimes leaders think that, once you have that mission on the wall, that mission statement, you have your mission, your vision, and your values, that's culture. Yeah. Oh, no. That's just the tip of the iceberg. What really is the culture of the organization is every action that you tolerate, every behavior that you congratulate and reward, and all of the other things in your policies and procedures. So it's the day-to-day interactions, all of those things, that's what makes your culture, not just the words that are sitting on a piece of paper or framed, in your office building.
That is so true. And what is a performance management myth you wish would just die?
Performance management. Let me tell you something, Takia. If I were to ask lots of HR professionals what's their favorite topic in HR, they wouldn't say performance management. Why? Because too often leaders think that performance appraisal is performance management only. That's just one little piece of it. So one thing I'd like to die is for people to stop saying that performance appraisal is the sum total of performance management. That's just a little snippet of the history or the record of how the employee has been performing. Performance management starts with goal setting right through to the performance appraisal. What's important? It's the conversations that are happening throughout the year. That's what's important.
Wow. That is so true, and I do hope that there are persons looking on to take away these notes that you're giving and these pointers. Now, you offer coaching, training, consulting, and keynote speaking. How do you decide which format is the right for a given client's problem?
This is where the discovery call with the client comes in. That's what's most important, because it's not about me as the consultant, it's about them and what they want.
Yeah.
So for example, if they want awareness, well, I would recommend the keynote speech. If they are, say, let's looking now for capability, transforming the employee's capability, then that I would recommend training. If, for example, they're talking about shifts in behavior and shifts in mindset, then I would recommend the coaching. And for the consulting work, if you're fixing something in that organization, fixing the structure, then that's where the consulting would come in. So it all boils down to, one of those four things, depending on what the client needs, then I'd make that recommendation.
Wow. And how would you say clients usually react to you when they now meet you versus when they're actually on that journey with you?
It's usually about something urgent. Oh, Georgia, we need to fix this. So it's a quick fix many times. They want you to hand them a script. I need to have this conversation. Can you just give me a script to talk to the person? So, usually that's it. But when I sit and talk to them, I let them know that the quick fix, many times, that's exactly what it's going to be, a quick fix. And tomorrow, you may end up with the same problem. So what I usually do is sit and have that conversation. And then they'll recognize that sometimes you may need to go a little deeper.
Yeah.
So it all boils down again to the conversation we're having with that client. And they get to trust me, as a strategic partner with them, and not just someone who comes in, swoops in, gives them something and moves again.
Yeah, so true. Ms. Donaldson, how do you measure success in a work that inherently is about behavior and culture and things that resist a simple metric?
Yes, that one is a little tricky. I remember early in my days, success oftentimes used to be, the number of clients you have,
Right.
the size of the contract. And of course, that is important because you have bills to pay. So that's part of your success. But what's most important for me now is when I think of the transformation that happens when I leave the room, when I leave that client. After I've left and they call me to say, Georgia, they had that tough conversation that we spoke about. The decision making has gotten faster. There are some roadblocks that we had and those roadblocks have been moved. That is what success means for me.
Wow. And you now mentioned that transformation part. So was there ever a project or a client's transformation that you were definitely telling yourself, yes, this is where I needed to be? And can you even share with us what made it work out in the end?
Oh, yes. I remember working with a particular CEO who, was challenged with a restructure. And after we did the work, just to hear how he shifted his mindset, his thinking,
Yeah.
and he shifted the way he had conversations with his employees and how he now started to move closer with that team of employees and they started moving together. And just to hear the feedback from the employees, because I don't just leave them, I go back to find out a few months after how are things going. And to hear see the shift and hear the conversations change, that's one I will always remember.
Wow. I could just imagine having that moment there, and it must have been spectacular. Well, can you tell us what changed most about leadership and even HR in the last 5 years?
In the last 5 years, HR people are always talking about wanting to be at the table. And we've been at many tables. But what I see is the biggest shift is that HR people are now more learning and understanding the business. So it's not only about the HR policies and administering vacation leave and all of those things. It is understanding the business that you're in, knowing about operations, knowing about the risks, and what are the people risks in the organization. So that's one of the biggest changes that I've been seeing, where HR people are now knowing more about the business that they're providing the service for. So it's not just support only, but it's more strategic involvement as well.
Yeah. And along those lines, what's one piece of advice you'd give every HR leader trying to get a seat at that strategic table?
And I'd stay in that same vein. I would say to HR professionals, know the business you're in. I remember when I went into banking, I knew nothing about banking. And for me to succeed, I had to learn about banking. So that's my simple advice to HR professionals. Know the business that you're in. So you understand the language, you can speak the language, and you understand the landscape of the business.
And what does success mean to you personally now versus when you now started off?
So I go back to that same one I said, success now looks like the transformation that the employees or the clients made, moving from one stage in their life to another, the growth and development of the clients. That's what's most important now.
Yeah. And Ms. Darso, what it started all of this off in the first place? What was that moment that made you say, yes, this is the field that I want to venture into, help persons just do better when it comes to HR, culture, behavior, along those lines?
That's a good question. I can't think of a defining moment. It's that I grew up in HR. I remember leaving high school, went into an organization for holiday work. That holiday turned out to be about 20 years.
Wow.
Moved up the ranks into HR. Always, I was always dealing with people.
Yeah.
Always loved it. Grew up in a household where my mother, my aunt, they were personnel managers in those days when they called it personnel. So it's almost like part of my heritage.
Wow.
So I grew up in that, and that is where I love being.
Yeah, definitely. And you can tell by just having this conversation with you, it's very easygoing. It's very, you're definitely a people's person, and conversations are easy to have with you. So that's very commendable.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, can you tell us if you're currently working on any new ventures or projects?
Yes, thank you so much for asking. So I have coming up what we call the Supervisors Summit, and that is going to be held on the 15th of September at the Cipriani College. And what it's about, it's really a one-day event for supervisors and middle managers who many times are forgotten in an organization. they're the ones who, you know, bear the brunt of the work in the organization, because they have people reporting into them and they report into senior managers, and they have to manage so many different things. So we have a guest speaker who is Angelo, from the CEO of True Value. He's Angelo, and he's such a remarkable person. We have Jared Best Mitchell. We have so many lined up: Melissa Pascal, Charlene Pedro, and Dion Gishard. Those are names that people, if you're on LinkedIn, you're going to know their names, because they are coming to give you practical things. This is not just a talk shop. When you leave, you're leaving with things that you can take back in your organization and become much more effective. So that's on the 15th of September. And if you want to register, please find me on LinkedIn, or my website is corporateoptionsconsulting.com, and you can register there.
Thank you so much for that. And I want to believe that same email would be for persons who are looking on and they enjoy the conversation and they want to start working along with you. How do they get in touch with you? Could you just say that again?
Yes. So the website is there, corporateoptionsconsulting.com. And my email is corporateoptionshr@gmail.com. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn and send me a private message. If people want my telephone contact as well, it's 687-1473.
Thank you so much for that. I was just making sure that we have it here for persons who definitely looking on, and they like what you're saying. They love the method that you're using to get the message across, and they want to be a part of it, because it's truly commendable what you do. So thank you so much for coming on this morning.
It was my pleasure. Take care. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Guys, we're about to take a short break, but when we come back, we do have more engaging conversations, so stay with us.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
Trinidad and Tobago, the trial of the century is back. And you are the jury. After sold-out performances in the UK and Trinidad, Focus Arts Promotions is back in TNT with the explosive, hilarious, and thought-provoking stage play by Alan Charles. Why Didn't I Get Married? It's not good for man to be alone, but what about the women? In Trinidad, Central Bank, Port of Spain, Saturday 12 September, 7 p.m. and Sunday 13 September at 6 p.m. Tickets $225. Available at A&A Pharmacy, Port of Spain, Living Legacy Arima, Maranatha in Sando. For more info, call 768-8214. And for the first time at the Shore Park Complex in Tobago, the day before the holiday, Wednesday 23rd August, 7 p.m. Tickets $200. Available at the Gentleman Barber Spa, Coconut Cafe, and Pablo's Supermarket. For more info in Tobago, call 320-2249. Why Didn't I Get Married? 7 women, 1 lawsuit. Man shortage in the church? Let the bacchanal begin.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas, and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
In this day of stay at home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins real estate agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We help you find that rental to rest along the way, or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too. Call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your tenants or buyers while you stay at home. We'll even manage your property at your bidding. Anything real estate, come home to Gittins & Gittins Real Estate. Call us at 760-3280 or 747-1220 or visit us at 16 Fifth Street in Woodbrook.
The fluid retention occurs in the lungs and they get short of breath, particularly with exertion, and is a particularly condition where when lying down they feel short of breath and have to use a lot of pillows. That's a sign that the shortness of breath might be due to heart failure.
Are you driven, ambitious, and ready to earn? WESN, the content capital, is expanding, and we're looking for dynamic media sales executives to join our team. Sell powerful advertising solutions across television, digital, and social media platforms, and help brands tell their story. If you have strong communication skills, a passion for sales, and the drive to succeed, join WESN today. Send your CV to marketing@wsncc.com or WhatsApp 68-61662 and start building your future.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Welcome back. Marriage is often seen as one of life's biggest milestones. But what happens when you want it, you're ready for it, and it still hasn't happened? Why didn't I get married put singleness, relationships, and the church on the spotlight, while asking a question many are debating today? Do women in church have unrealistic standards, or are they simply refusing to settle? And where are the single Christian men? Is the church doing enough to prepare men and women for healthy relationships? Joining us this morning is playwright Alan Childs to unpack the play and the very real conversation behind it. Take a look at this video first.
I can't wait and walk and pant and no. I just want a man. Any man. 1 foot, 1 hand, 12 toes.
Trinidad and Tobago, the trial of the century is back. And you are the jury. After sold-out performances in the UK and Trinidad, Focus Arts Promotions is back in TNT with the explosive, hilarious, and thought-provoking stage play by Alan Charles, Why Didn't I Get Married? It's not good for man to be alone, but what about the women? In Trinidad, Central Bank, Port of Spain, Saturday 12 September, 7 p.m. and Sunday 13 September at 6 p.m. Tickets $225. Available at A&A Pharmacy, Port of Spain, Living Legacy Arima, Maranatha in Sando. For more info, call 768-8214. And for the first time at the Shore Park Complex in Tobago, the day before the holiday, Wednesday 23rd August, 7 p.m. Tickets $200. Available at the Gentleman Barber Spa, Coconut Cafe, and Pablo's Supermarket. For more info in Tobago, call 320-2249. Why did I get married? 7 women, 1 lawsuit. Man shortage in the church? Let the bacchanal begin.
Okay, guys, so that was just a snippet of it, and now we're going to get into it with Alan himself. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. Now, right off the bat, what inspired Why Didn't I Get Married?
It was inspired by 2 things. Because I'm based in the UK, so back in the UK in 2025, a book was written, Black Christian Single.
Yeah.
And in the book, the women were complaining that they were angry at the church because the church sold them a lie. And what was the lie? The lie was, become the Proverbs 31 woman, get yourself together, your education and everything, prepare yourself to be a wife, and your Boaz, your shining armor will come along. They're now in their late 50s, early 60s, no husband, no children, and so they're angry at the church because they're saying the church didn't provide enough men, because there's a shortage of men in the church. The ratio is 7 women to 1 man.
Wow.
So they're saying, we're here, fully equipped, but the men are not there. And the few men that are there are not qualified. So, and then a guy called Uma Johnson said that the black church has an interest in keeping women single. Why? Women earn more than the black man, have more resources, so when they're single, they've got more time for the church. Once they get married, they have less time. So the church fosters an atmosphere where women are attracted, but the man and them aren't. So the play now asks the question, should the church be held accountable for the high level of single women in her midst? And does the church purposely keep the church girly, feminine, for its own purpose? So the church is on trial. Now, the church is on trial, but a trial isn't always a negative thing.
Right.
Because you get to put forward both sides of the case.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. We present the facts, and then we ask the audience, as a jury, you decide if the church is guilty or not of this crime against womanity.
I like that word that you use there, womanity. Now, do you believe the church do bear some sort of responsibility for the number of single women out there?
I believe so. I mean, don't get me wrong, in society as a whole, there are more women than men.
Yes.
But are we doing enough to get more men in? I find that a lot of our programs, a lot of our services, a lot of the way in which we evangelize are geared towards women.
Yeah.
You know, we're not intentional of how we get men in. And the usual cliche is, we are the church and our duty is to get people in, be it male or female. But no, there is a crisis in the church, which is man shortage. It's affecting everyone, not just the single people. It's also affecting the married men. Why?
Ooh.
Ask me why.
Why? Tell us why, Alan.
Because it adds extra pressure on the few married men trying to hold it together with all this single energy around you. Secondly, married women don't like single women around their husbands.
Okay.
So it's causing an atmosphere that's not conducive to good worship.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a family issue, it's a church issue, not just a single issue.
You're absolutely right. And now we keep hearing that church women have too many standards. Do you think that's fair?
Well, the men are saying that the women, their bucket list is unrealistic, that even Adam himself wouldn't qualify. And Adam was made perfect. So the men are saying, in Trinidad, ladies, be realistic with what you desire. Not everybody's going to have a six-pack, earn 6 figures, and be six foot. You know, so just cut it back, You know, and obviously the older you get as well, is the more you have to trim it. When you're young, I mean, you can have the world. But as you get older and your beauty starts to fade, and everything as it should be, I mean, just a bit more realistic. So the guys are saying, come on ladies, you are asking the impossible of us.
And what would you say, at what point do these standards become unrealistic expectations? Like, what would you point out as the unrealistic ones?
I think it's more to do with personality traits are not up for an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I mean, like the outside stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the looks, the height, the earning. Obviously, you have to be able to earn enough to take care of your family, right? But sometimes it's unrealistic what women are asking for in this day and age. You know, it takes two. Right now, back in the day, the man was the sole provider.
Right.
He had enough to look after the family, and sometimes the wife did have to work.
Yeah.
But now, we need two paychecks, and it just so happens that these days, women are earning more than men. That causes another issue, because as a woman who is the chief breadwinner, are you able to submit to your husband? Are you able to let him still lead, even though you're earning 6 figures and he's earning five figures? So that as well is a dynamic that causes pressure, because sometimes men as well are intimidated by women who earn more and who are more educated. And yes, I think at times us men, we need to step up, because the women are doing great stuff. We need to get our act together and really, I mean, match the women.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now you mentioned something, and that's a whole conversation with women knowing how to submit when they are the chief breadwinner in a household. But we're not going to touch on that that conversation. Yeah, not that one just yet. But I do want to ask, do you think the church is doing enough to prepare women and men for marriage?
Well, the research says they're doing more than enough to prepare women.
Okay.
The women are ready and ripe.
Right.
But the men are not there in either in abundance or in qualified, equipped.
Yeah.
So that the women are saying, yeah, there was all this pressure for us to prepare ourselves and be ready. But the same attention not given to the men.
Yeah.
The men are not being discipled enough. That's what the women are saying. How true that is, only the men will be able to answer that for you in Trinidad and Tobago. But yeah, but the women are complaining that there are few men in the church, and the few men that are there are not qualified. So the church needs to do more to equip the men, to disciple the men, to get them to a standard where they are men of prominence, men who can look after the family, men who can take up their rightful role as husbands and fathers.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Now, do you think Christian women should consider dating outside the church, or does faith need to be a non-negotiable?
I think that you are opening a can of worm if you step outside of the house of faith.
Yeah.
Because marriage in itself is problematic enough.
Yeah.
And now you're adding another element. You know, how can two walk together if they don't agree?
Right.
You know, if you have problems, I want to pray, you don't want to pray. I want the kids to go to church, you don't want the kids to go to church. So it creates a problem. So I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
Even though obviously the numbers, the maths is a maths in, and there isn't enough men in the church for the women. So I guess you just have to just grin and bear it, hold on to the Lord, hold on to faith, and pray that the Lord will do his thing. He will give you desire and equipment to keep single, or he will send your boys along eventually. But no, I would not encourage anybody to be, as the Bible says, unequally yoked.
Yeah, absolutely right. And now the question is, where are the single Christian men? Where do we look? Is the church looking in the wrong places? As you mentioned, we go out on these things, and most of the times we tend to pull more women in and not the men. So
the place called Why Didn't I Get Married? And the number one reason given by women is man shortage.
Correct.
So they're blaming the church, but really and truly, man shortage is general. I'm going to show my age, but back in the day, there was a song called Man Shortage All Around the World. He was lonely and frustrated back in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a secular song, right? So it wasn't a church thing. So generally speaking, in our community, our men have always been There's always been a shortfall of men.
Yeah.
So it's not a church issue alone.
Right.
But the church can't just sit back on that. We still need to do more to get more men in.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, that's where we as the church, we fail, because, as I said, we're not tuning our tools to reach the men where they are.
Yes.
Nation of Islam has no problem getting men. Black Hebrews have no problem getting men. But our churches are losing our men at a considerable rate. So something needs to be done.
Now, based on what you just said, what do you think the church can pull from these other religions in terms of attracting men back into it?
Making religion, making your gospel relevant to the black man.
Yeah.
Because the play is specifically dealing with the black woman. It's not a racial thing, but the figures show that black women are least likely to get married out of any nation.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're focusing on that because we have a problem here, and so we need to do more to equip our boys as well from a young age, because what we find as well is that within the church, under 12, the ratio is equal, boys to girls.
Right.
But it's when they get to 14, 15, 16,
yes, they
leave. I don't know if they're attracted to fast life, attracted to the gangs, whatever, but the church loses them at an early age. Yeah. So by the time you reach 22 now, there were no men there because they've left early. We need to have programs in place where we can keep the boys, one, and also attract men in two. So it's a two-pole solution.
Yeah.
Disciple who you have, keep what you have, but yet still bring more men. So the woman can have a better chance of finding her husbands and take the pressure off the few married men.
Yes, yeah, absolutely right. And now, do you think marriage has become this highly valued thing in church where single people feel like something is wrong with them?
Right. So yes, marriage is honorable, and the Bible do promote marriage, and obviously God's ideal is everyone to be married. The Bible says it's not good for a man to be alone.
Right.
But obviously due to sin, we're seeing the problem that we have. Now the church has to be careful that while we are promoting marriage as honorable, we don't do it at the expense of the single people and making them feel like second-class citizen.
Right.
Yeah? Whether you're married or single, you're still whole and you're still valued in the sight of God. Yeah. But sometimes, well, our programs and our church service is geared at the family, and the family means in the church most times husband, wife, children.
Yeah.
And so married folks can be led to believe that I'm second class, I'm an afterthought. So we need to be intentional to empower the singles development, so they don't know that you are special, you are worthwhile, and you're part of the family as well. And whether single or married, you still have value. Jesus was single, full life, and as it appears that Paul as well was also single, and he had a full life. So, and in the play, we sing the chorus that singleness is not a crime or a sin.
Wow.
So
stand firm in it. Be proud.
Celebrate your singleness.
Celebrate it. Now, I have heard a lot of married couples say enjoy a single season because it's a whole different atmosphere when they go across on that married side of things. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Even worse still, that when you're married, you're still living as if you're single.
Wow.
Or when you're married, you're wishing you were single. So we say in the play, it's better to be single and wishing that you're married than to be married and wishing you were single. Yeah. All that glitters isn't gold, and sometimes, well, in the church, we're not honest when we talk about marriage. We always make marriage as if it's perfect, but it's not. And if we were to be honest about marriages, we would have better marriages because people would put more preparation before they get married. You know, so the church really needs, training, discipleship of how to prepare yourself, and as well the men. We need to step up. The men need to step up. Both parties need to be fully prepared for marriage because it's not an easy road. You know, and sometimes we've got a rose-tinted view of marriage. We need to be real about the experiences. Because remember, the person you marry at 20
it's not going to be the very
simple as not at 40 or 50. So all that stuff, and sometimes as well, the vow says for better or for worse. Now we gloss over that. You know what I mean? But really and truly, those vows means what they say.
Yeah.
You know, as you get older and you put on some weight, you lose your hair, you lose your eyesight, you lose your money, you lose your fame, you lose everything. We still have to stick it out.
Yeah.
But these days, it's for better or better. Now, we're not dealing with worse. Richer or richer.
Right.
We're dealing with back in the day. You know what I mean? Our parents stuck it through. You know, and so we need that all-time commitment to marriage to make it work, especially for the younger generation.
Absolutely. Now, would you say all of this is happening because of how things has changed over the past few years? But something you mentioned before with that men shortage is not something that is now happening now. So what do you think could be done differently now that probably wasn't happening back in the past?
Now, I think it's still to do with people taking individual responsibility for themselves and being committed to the commitment. As a man, being committed to your wife, being committed to one woman, being committed to thinking of a family.
Yeah.
Sometimes we trivialize stuff and we want to have as many women as we want. We don't want to get serious, but it's talk about individual taking responsibility, being intentional from a young age.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes even the way in which we parent our boys and our girls differently. So a boy at 5, 6, 7 may have a lot of girls around, and we tap it on the back. Yeah, look at my son. He has all his girlfriend. But the girl now, it's a different thing. So from an early age, we create an atmosphere where men having women is celebrated, and not the same. But the same standard should be for everyone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And even looking in on some of the people I interact with and their backgrounds, knowing they had the same brought up seed to an extent, but it's so different now as they've grown into adulthood. And it just brings you to think that in the church setting as well, they tend to really do focus more on the women and the young girls, and they try to get them to stay holy, stay pure, but they don't have that same teaching for the men.
And that's the number one problem.
Yes.
The inequality, the bias,
the
hypocrisy, you know. So it's all wrong, and we just need to do better. Like I says, women, be realistic with the standards. Men, step up.
Yeah. Now there's a whole thing that we love to say in the church setting, you know, wait on God. So do you think wait on God has sometimes replaced that intentional dating?
Yeah. Waiting doesn't mean sitting back doing nothing. You know, we always used to tell the story of Ruth and Boaz.
Right.
But Ruth was proactive. Yeah. Ruth made herself available and made herself seen so that Boaz could see her.
Yeah.
Sometimes we want to stay in our church, in our local church as well, go nowhere and hope that he's going to fall out of the sky. You know, they said that faith without works is dead.
Right.
Yeah. So you may have faith to wait on, but you have to wait actively. Yeah. And I think sometimes that's what we need to do. Be more proactive.
Proactive.
You know.
Absolutely right. And what would you say to the woman who has prayed, waited, and worked on herself, but is still single?
All I can say to you is God knows the best.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes He may even be saving you from a worse fate. So whatever unhappiness you might be going through, frustration, He's probably saving you from a worse situation. He knows best, and He knows when the time is right. And even though you may even think that you're right or you're ready, you still may not be ready. So He's probably still pruning you and preparing you, and just wait on the Lord.
Yeah. And do you think the opposite can be for a male who is praying and he's waiting and trusting the Lord to put that right woman inside? Because I do believe the Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So that means men have to actually go out and look
as well.
Yeah, so what would you say to the guy who is looking?
in the play, we have a joke that says, if there's men in the church who can't find a wife, then something is wrong. Because if the ratio is 7 women to 1 man, but you can't find 1 woman in the church, something is wrong.
Wow.
But that's just in the play. in reality, men also have standards.
Yes.
Men also have preference. So we cannot take it for granted that just because there's an abundance, that each one of the 7 women is qualified or meets his personal standards. So men as well have to be careful that we don't just jump into it, because the pressure as well on men as well to get married, because all these women get married. I mean, and sometimes there's a thing that in the Bible that says it's better to marry than to burn. Meaning, if you're desiring sex, right, then it's better to marry than to commit fornication.
Right.
And sometimes a lot of young people have gotten married because they didn't want to commit fornication, but they weren't ready. They're ready for the sex, but they weren't ready for marriage. And so sometimes they get married premature when they should have taken their time, develop themselves until they're fully ready. So don't make anybody pressure you into getting married, because marriage it's for big people, mature people, and people who are seasoned and people who are ready to make that commitment. I mean, it's about dying to self. Yeah, you cannot be selfish and be married.
That is true.
Yeah, you have to be able to compromise, negotiate, and give in. The joke is as well that men, you have to be able to apologize to your wife, even when you're in the right, even when she is wrong. As the man, you have to step back and say, babes, you're right, for peace and quiet's sake. They say, happy wife, happy life.
Yes. Wow, that is so good to hear you say that.
I don't know if it's true, but that's what they say.
Yeah, that is definitely a saying that goes around. Now, do you think, and we coming down to the questions here, but do you think men can have unrealistic standards as well? We like to say women are the ones, but
definitely, the looks, like I said, as you grow old, and a big thing that we want to address in the next place is menopause and midlife crisis.
Right.
That as you get older, everything starts changing. I mean, your mind, your moods, and so something a lot of men are not perimenopause, I think it's called. Men we are not equipped for that, because we knew our wife a certain way, but when they reach that stage now, they become a different person, and we're not able to adapt and readapt. So men really need to educate ourselves about the changes that women go through. But men, we go through changes as well. Through midlife crisis, and when we start looking back, and we start wanting to fulfill dreams, and we start doing crazy stuff to, tap into our youth. So, like I said, when you're young, you've got more resilience, but as you get older as well, you have to be more mature and be able to work through those issues.
Yeah, absolutely right. And ultimately, what do you hope the audience's question about themselves after seeing the play?
Nothing is black and white. Sometimes we see a situation and we make a judgment without knowing the facts. So the play is called Why Didn't I Get Married? And there are many reasons why people are not married. And you may be asking, you might be putting pressure on people to get married who can't get married for whatever reason. Whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's illness, they know within themselves why they're not married. But because we have a fear of marriage, we keep on putting pressure on them. But they're dealing with their own situation. So in the play, we catalog various reasons why individuals are not married. Some positive, some negative, but we're giving you a full overview so that you don't keep on asking the question. Get to know the person first to know why they may have chosen not to get married.
Yeah, absolutely right. And again, the play is open to everyone. Is there
family life, we say PG-12.
Right.
So once you, nobody under 12 can come without an adult. But there is no profanity. It's for the whole family. If you're married, people think that it's for everybody. So whether you're married, you come along, because you could be the reason why people choose not to get married. Why is that? Because sometimes our marriages is such a bad example that people are put off. Also, you can understand some of the struggles that single people are going through. So when you keep on pressuring them, you might know, okay, next time I won't, because I now understand where they're coming from. So the play is really a conversation as well. We want to get people talking, the churches, the leaders, to recognize that there is a problem within your church. You may not see it because most pastors are married. Yeah, so it may not affect them personally, but it's affecting your congregation, your women, your men, and everybody's affected. So we want them to be sympathetic and empathetic to the issue of singleness and the pressure that it's causing within our pews.
And lastly, well, not too lastly, but what has been the reaction from the church about the play?
Well, it's actually been twofold. On the one hand, out of the 5 plays that are brought to Trinidad, this one has been the most popular one. But at the same time, it's gotten the most pushback as well, because of the topic matter and because of the idea that the church is actually on trial. But like I said, a trial is not negative. You know, and if you come and see the play isn't bashing the church. It's just putting forward all the facts that's happening in a courtroom setting and just asking the question. And at the end of the day, you get to see whether or not you think the church is guilty. Can the church do more? You know, or are we just making up? Did Umar Johnson lie? Is he lying? And that's what we're doing. We're saying, Umar Johnson, you made a statement, and we want to test your statement. You're claiming that the church purposely keep our women single. We want to put that to the test. And that's what the church does. In the book, the lady is saying that she's angry at the church because the church didn't do enough. We're asking the question, is that true? So come and see the play, Why Didn't I Get Married? It's not good for man to be alone. But what about our women? 7-1, man shortage. Nah, come and check out the Bacchanal. So Saturday the 12th, Sunday the 13th at Central Bank Order Auditorium, 7 p.m. Tickets are only 200 TT, available at A&A Pharmacy, Living Legacy in Arima, Maranatha in Sando. And then on the 23rd of August, we go to Tobago, Shore Park Complex, Wednesday the 20th of September, the day before the holidays. Tickets are $175, available from Gentleman's Barber, Coconut Cafe, Pablo Supermarket, and Books and Offices Supply. So, Tobago, please come out. Trinidad, come out. This is our 3rd time in Trinidad. So we ask you to come again, bring your friend, and enjoy the production, Why Didn't I Get Married?
Number 1 question out there. Thank you so much, Alan, for coming on and being a part of the conversation. I do believe this has been a topic that definitely is a continuous one. So I'm glad that we're getting to see it unfold in front of us. So we get to get some answers. We get to see everything truth. And as you said, a courtroom is not always negative. There's always both sides. And the jury is the audience. So you get to take away what you want to take away at the end of the day. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Guys, as we wrap up today's show, we hope that there was something that you were able to take away, something that you were able to start today with afresh. And as I always say to close, stay safe, stay informed, stay positive. Up next, we do have Sean Michael Small at 8 with Talking Points, and I'll see you again next week. Do enjoy and have a great and fun weekend. Bye.
I just want a man. Any man. One foot. One hand.
Trinidad and Tobago, the trial of the century is back. And you are the jury. After sold-out performances in the UK and Trinidad, Focus Arts Promotions is back in TNT with the explosive, hilarious, and thought-provoking stage play by Alan Charles. Why Didn't I Get Married? It's not good for man to be alone, but what about the women? In Trinidad, Central Bank, Port of Spain, Saturday 12 September, 7 p.m. and Sunday 13 September at 6 p.m. Tickets $225. Available at A&A Pharmacy, Port of Spain, Living Legacy Arima, Maranatha in Sando. For more info, call 768-8214. And for the first time at the Shore Park Complex in Tobago, the day before the holiday, Wednesday 23rd August, 7 p.m. Tickets $200. Available at the Gentleman Barber Spa, Coconut Cafe, and Pablo Supermarket. For more info in Tobago, call 320-2249. Why Didn't I Get Married? 7 women, 1 lawsuit. Man shortage in the church? Let the Bacchanal begin.
WESN.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
In this day of stay at home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins real estate agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We help you find that rental to rest along the way, or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too, call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your